Welcome to the Artist Loft, the talk show for all artists. Join us each show as we spotlight a variety of different creatives, hosted by the Florida Arts Network, with Richard Sosa and Frank A. Ruffolo.
Hey,
Lofties, we're back.
How's everybody doing?
The trio.
Have you missed me?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Let me
welcome
tell you.
back.
Thank you. And I think I just disconnected my little mic. Hello? 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 Here we go. Okay, yeah. Experiencing technical difficulties here. You shut off my mic for the rest of the show? Yeah, no, it's been crazy.
Well, why? Tell us why.
I've between work and moving and
Hello.
and my wife's broken wrist
No, and
just-
getting married.
Yes, and getting married, but that was back in December.
What, that was
Yeah.
that long?
Yes, December 2nd.
Oh, I feel like you've been on the honeymoon this whole time.
We have been. Ow.
Oh, sorry. I don't want to hurt your wrist. That would be two wrists. That would be.
I know we'd get nothing done, you know, but
Okay.
yeah. So it's good to be back. Got a slightly different setup. We've been experimenting with the setups. We did one in the other studio.
And we have a new co-host.
Yes.
You do?
Yes. Oh man, come on! I wanted to do this big announcement and everything. You stole my thunder. So we have a new co-host. You guys have seen her on here before, and you know we figured, you know, it's kind of like, you know, these panhandlers. She's always looking for, you know, an opportunity to.
Get out of here.
Let me tell you,
it's-
she has been amazing. You've always come through for us.
I love you
Always,
guys. You know, we go
always,
way
always.
back. We go way back to the Florida Hampton table with
Yeah.
Rose Warner. I mean, this is like
Yeah.
this is, and I remember always admiring you, both of you, and always, you know, we had a nice friendship, and it was never
Oh, yeah.
intentional. You know, honest to God, and I'm telling you the truth, like. I never thought that this could happen, and I really didn't. I
Yeah.
just thought, you know, okay, whenever they need me to come in, I'll come in. But now,
Kumbaya over here.
Kumbaya.
Who's got the guitar? No campfire. What's going on here? But yeah, no. And just to really break her in,
yeah.
she's going to be doing a show solo next time.
I am. I know, and I'm excited. I already have. Yeah. What do you mean? It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I'll just make Freddie and Dawn help me out. What can I do?
Oh, there you go.
They'll push me into place.
I know.
But anyways, it's really special. And
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for being, you know, open to this new, you know, this third person, because, you know, sometimes three can be too much. What is it called?
Two's company, three's a crowd.
But yeah, what
Or
he
something
said.
like that?
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, but no, you add something to the show. I kind of feel bad for Frank though, because you and I are like
Oh no.
are female male versions of each other.
But it's
and-
okay. It's okay because he'll make it all sci-fi cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel kind of bad for our audience because you two will just take over the show and nobody will hear anything.
Okay, see,
Oh.
that was his way
Yeah,
of saying,
right.
I think it's time to introduce
It's
our
our
guests.
I think. Well,
But before we
Before.
do, okay, I want everybody to go to our website, floridaartsnetwork.org, and go to our page. Take a look at all the different ways that you guys can help. We have a fundraising link there because we need money to get the stuff done that we want to do. So, but we also need help with other things. You know, it's like I was thinking today, the website and the scheduling and, you know, all this.
and the
All this
content
crazy
and the
stuff.
people,
Content. Yes.
and you know, we want to do our very best to bring the best of the best to you, and you can be a part of that, don't you think?
Absolutely. And remember, we are a 501c3, so any gifts are tax deductible, whether it be cash, other gifts, property, whatever.
Gold,
Property.
Gold,
Yeah.
Bitcoin, we'll take everything.
Gold, Bitcoin, yeah.
We'll take just one Bitcoin, no big deal.
That's just one coin.
I know. What's it, about 90
I'll
grand
hold it
right
for
now?
you.
Yeah.
It's 80,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
It's 87.
Yeah, something like that.
86, something
Yeah.
like that.
All right. So anyway, before we get going crazy on Bitcoin, which is I still can't wrap my head around it.
You
so
can't?
it doesn't exist. It's something that doesn't exist. But anyway, so without any further ado, let's bring on our guest.
Where's our horn? Oh gosh, did I just do that on
was
television?
a horrible horn. Oh my God, Alicia.
Okay, but hold on.
I think that was even worse.
That was even better.
All right.
No, that was better.
Okay.
Kind of.
We do need to
Yes,
introduce.
but hold on because she's the queen.
She definitely is the queen, and we're gonna get to that. No, she's not royalty, but she is, or she was. Okay, I think
So was Queen
she
Elizabeth.
She went the way of Prince Harry.
All right, let's get with the program, guys.
Oh gosh.
Back to the program. Yes, Vivian Orozco, how
Hey.
are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Thank you for
That was
being
a heck
here.
of an intro. Thanks.
Did you get the horn?
I got the horn. I got twice the horn with both of you.
Now your turn.
So how have you been?
I've been doing great. It's been a very eventful time since I worked at the Renaissance Festival, to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah, it has, and we go back a ways.
Way back. Also a Florida Hampton table,
Yeah.
back to the Rose Warner days. That was,
Yeah.
I remember being an aspiring filmmaker and going, gee, this looks like a cool place, and showing up at the diner and meeting everybody.
Yeah,
You
that
know?
was back in we
Was that
started
84 Diner?
Yeah, 84
That was at
Diner. It's
84
not there
Diner.
anymore. It's such a shame.
I know,
Because
I heard
would
it
love
shut
to
down.
go back or find another place like that.
We do. We are in a place like that. Even better.
Huh?
The studio.
No. I mean, we could all get together,
Oh.
for the networking like we used to. We used to do it once a month. It was
Yeah.
it was
But-
amazing. That's where we all met.
That's how we all networked.
So
Yeah.
you were an aspiring. This was what, like 15 years ago, 10 years ago or
gosh.
so. And now
Yeah.
tell us about your journey.
I think it actually has been that long, believe it or not, because
Yeah.
I started my company in 2012. Because it was funny because I was doing work on it today and I was like, oh, 2012, it's been some time since I
Yeah.
started that. And I think I joined the table a couple years after that to look
Yeah.
for networking opportunities. So crazy how
it's
long it's
crazy.
been. But yeah, after I left the Renaissance Festival, I actually moved to LA for a while. I lived in Los Angeles for 4 years. I'm back in South Florida again. I'm happy to be back here, where I can find good Cuban food and good Colombian food.
Oh, there
Both
you
of which
go.
are scarce in Los Angeles. Or you can find it because you can find just about anything there, but it's not the same.
Yeah, no, it's not. Go to a Cuban restaurant, get yourself a nice bistec empanizado,
Yeah.
arroz, frijoles, flan, cafecito.
Exactly.
go.
Yes, I had to teach people what a cafecito was. I
Yeah.
introduced that
Yeah.
over. But yes. So I spent a lot of my time there. I was looking to get into the film industry there. And of course, I have excellent timing. My timing is so good that I went there in January of 2020 right before the city got shut down because of the COVID pandemic. So if you weren't, I think it was like a COVID prevention officer, those were the only people really getting work on sets that weren't already established in the industry. So
Yeah.
it made an already hard to break into
And then the
industry close to impossible.
Oh,
We'll get
yeah.
to that
Then you
because
had
then
the
we had
strike,
strike number
yeah.
one, strike number two,
Yeah.
and in between all that we were like, okay, who's striking next? Because if the Actors Guild is striking, IATSE strikes, or the Directors Guild strikes, or if all
Yeah.
three strike at the same time, we're just
Yeah.
gonna
Oh, I
have to
know.
go
It started
find
with the Writers
something
Guild.
to do. The Writers Guild as
So,
well.
Yeah, the WGA
Yep,
and then SAG-AFTRA.
Yep.
And then,
It was WGA, SAG-AFTRA, IATSE was on the borderline, and then they finally
Yeah.
came to terms. it was a big mess.
So you had no writers, you had no actors.
Yes.
You had no crew.
So,
well, almost had no
but
crew.
did you utilize that for creativity at all?
Okay, so I did. I tried. Unfortunately, during COVID, I went through it was a transitional period of being depressed, missing home, not having anything to do, and having no source of income because it was also hard to find work outside of like the industry, outside anywhere, pretty much, like in any industry, because everything was shut down. They didn't want to hire new people. They didn't want anyone to come into office because of COVID. So during that period, I call it like kind of the blackout period. I had to like kind of adjust to life, but while being very limited in what I could and couldn't do. And then after that, I finally was able to get work, and I was able to kind of get myself off the ground and started pursuing more creative things. And that was when I realized exactly how much harder it is to get into the industry out there. It's incredibly difficult, especially, and it's funny because I actually ultimately kind of got into the industry through a company that basically what they did was they're the in-between guy, a rental house that sends stage lights to big productions. I was working actually under it was owned by a big name gaffer in the industry. But even then, the people that I had dealt with, I've had some interactions that were like, I was basically treated as less than because of being female and the assumption that I knew nothing of what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And you're from Florida.
And I'm from Florida, yeah. Oh, the way that when you tell people you're from Florida and Los Angeles, they give you this look like, oh, I'm so sorry, you just arrived from a third world country. And I'm like, well, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much, but Florida has had a reputation like that for the longest time. I've been told that occasionally on set something may go wrong and somebody will go, "Oh, that's so Florida."
Really?
Yeah.
Or that's such a Floridian.
Yeah, Floridian.
Floridian. Oh God, that's a new one for me. I
Yeah.
never heard that, but
Yeah,
well,
no, I
You
never
know
heard
what?
that.
Though, I've noticed though, between you and all of us, everyone that leaves Florida always ends up coming back.
it's true.
There's just something about, I don't know, something in our water. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's vodka.
Yeah.
Aguardiente.
Aguardiente, yes.
Yeah.
No, I
Fire
laugh
water,
because
for those of you.
I just exchanged one Hollywood for another because I'm from Hollywood, Florida, and I was living in Hollywood, California. So it's just a
Wow.
matter of changing states. I honestly, if you were to ask me which city I loved better, I would say that I actually love both the same. They each have their own charm.
Yeah.
And I think that like recognizing the difference in character is really important. You know, I will say that one of the things that I did love about LA is that there's a lot more niche things out there. So if you're into a specific hobby or something like that, it's easier to find out there than say out here. Here you have to look a little harder. It's not to say they don't exist. You just have to look a little harder. They're not as readily available, let's say.
But you found that being in the film industry was very hard. That's a
Yeah, it was
difficult
very
niche.
hard. And it was so hard. I lived next to Warner Brothers Studios, and I still couldn't get a job there.
You know what?
I was across the street.
Maybe you should have done what like Steven Spielberg does. He would sneak on the set and like sell hot dogs and stuff like that during breaks. And,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
you know what, I didn't think about that. I
Really?
should have thought
Yeah.
that through.
Yeah.
A lot more of my stuff was basically just talking to people, networking. I was able to
Yeah.
attend a few events through my job at the lighting warehouse, which was fantastic. I was really pleased, and I won a bunch of stuff. In the raffles, but I think going to LA, you definitely have to have a goal and a purpose. The other thing that I think is important is if you're coming to LA, realize that it is very expensive to live there. My one bedroom cost one bath. And that was me going, I don't want a roommate because the first roommate I had was not great to put it nicely. And that was, it was bad enough for me to go, you know what? Cats is enough. I'm just going to have cats. But anyway, that little apartment cost me about $2,500 a month when everything was said and done.
Yeah.
And you don't even get your own in-unit washer dryer.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
have communal laundry with all the rest of the peasants that you're in the apartment with. So
Well, you know what? It's kind of like that here in a
It's
lot of
caught up.
areas.
It's like that now.
it's
Yeah.
getting that way, which is sad because that was one of the things I was like, it was such a culture shock in Los Angeles to go there and do that. I was like, well, if I were to rent an apartment in Florida, it would come with a washer and dryer. I don't understand why we're doing the communal washer and dryer thing. you know.
Did you have air conditioning?
I did. I actually went out of my way to find a place that had central air conditioning because apparently outside of Florida, central air conditioning is a luxury, not a necessity.
Really?
Yes. So,
Wow. So it wasn't like an AD there with a fan going.
no, not quite like that. No.
Oh man.
But ultimately, I did find a creative niche because I still wanted to make films and create stuff. And it was interesting to kind of try to find a way to do that without the support that I had out here. Because here, I could call people. I was like, okay, hey, I want to do a short film. Let's meet on Saturday and let's just shoot something cool, you know? And I'd be able to round up people and we'd get it done and it'd be a great time. Out there, it doesn't work like that unless you really know people.
Yeah.
But fortunately for me, I was able to find a niche within the, I got into Dungeons and Dragons. And from there discovered that there was, I was already sort of aware of it, but I just, as I got further into the hobby, I realized that there was a market for what's called actual play, which is basically televised versions of this gameplay.
Yeah, and you have a lot of that stuff out there.
Yes.
And for all different games, you know, I mean,
Yes.
people actually watch you play the game, and
Right.
and you can tell them, okay, you know, if you're going to have this class, you need this AC and this kind of hit points, and you know, you have to work on your dexterity or agility or you know all this other stuff. It's crazy.
Exactly.
Can
And
you
like,
explain, like, to the audience about how it works? a little
Sure,
bit?
yes. A couple of things I wanted to touch on. The first of which was business-wise, if you're looking at it from a business standpoint. During COVID, we saw the rise of what I'll call the Twitch streamer, the YouTube content channel, because people were at home with nothing to watch. And in a lot of cases, they were watching things online. So you saw a lot of this. And that's kind of where we saw the growth of this sort of genre. And when I talk about actual plays, basically what you would do, and I'm using Dungeons and Dragons because if I say Dungeons and Dragons, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Most people will know. That's why it's the world's greatest role-playing game. But as opposed to me saying tabletop role-playing games, which is what the hobby actually is, most people are like, what's that? And then you just
Yeah.
say Dungeons and Dragons, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
Once
anyway.
you're the dungeon master, then there's a lot of work.
Well, then you have to work with two definitions, and you got to clarify which one it is. But anyway, so the idea is that you basically gather people at a table. Some people will meet in person, but a lot of people, because of the virtual nature of COVID and not being able to meet in person, found ways to do this virtually. So you can do that, gather physically or virtually, to play a tabletop role-playing game. And what you do is essentially you play Dungeons and Dragons. So one person is the game master or dungeon master. They create the world and we'll sometimes create a backbone for the story. And you have anywhere from 2 to 6 players who play out a story for the audience. Think of it as like it's basically collaborative storytelling with a few more rules.
Experience. Oh my! Do
Okay,
people?
we'll have more.
Yeah.
We'll
Yes.
have more from Vivian right after this.
Right after this.
Frank
Wow,
A. Ruffolo, a renowned author and screenwriter known for his books such as 10048, Blue Falcon, Memoir of a Soldier, and his latest, Samuel of Sarah. Check out his website, frankaruffolo.com, for more info or purchase his books on Amazon.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Agent Romante, but most of you know me as Esteban Julio Ricardo Montoya de Rosa Ramirez from The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. I just wanted to give a shout out to my man Richard Sosa. He is one of the best acting coaches that I've had the pleasure to work with, and he's actually worked with me in my program for many years, and I highly recommend this guy. So if you have an opportunity to work with him, what are you waiting for? Now, get out of my face. Esteban Julio Ricardo Montoya de Rosa Ramirez. I am out.
If you Google me, I'm the first thing that comes up.
Oh, welcome back, Vivian. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
So good.
So yeah, the whole Twitch thing and the role-playing game, it's you can go on and on and on about that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
For days. But I do want to talk to you about your filmmaking.
Yes, I did not stop making films.
No, you did not. In
no, you
fact, no, she didn't.
No.
You have a documentary.
I do, actually. I'm very pleased. This documentary took me a while to put together and to shoot. It is called
remember.
Between Myth and History, Florida Renaissance Festival.
Yep.
And just recently, it actually was approved to be on Amazon Prime, so you can now find it on Amazon Prime. If you look it up, you will find it under Between Myth and History. It has a picture of me in my full princess garb and my very good friend Adolfo J. Herrera, who played King Ferdinand of Spain that year. I was playing Joanna of Castile, an oft misunderstood historical character. Especially, don't get me started on the Spanish princess. I was very angry with her portrayal in that, but that's a whole other kettle of fish. Anyway, so
That's a whole other kettle of fish, boy, I'll tell you.
anyway, so
A little Southern charm in that.
Yeah.
So basically, the documentary follows the journey of 9 people, all of whom are performers at the show, from the audition process all the way through the festival season. And and while you're watching this journey, we talk a little bit about the Renaissance Festival, the history of Renaissance festivals, and a little bit about why it's so important to us. And I'm really glad that I took the time to make this film. It was my first feature-length film and my first documentary. So I learned a lot, my crew learned a lot.
Yeah.
And it was pretty, I absolutely can say that everything that could go wrong did in that film. We were a low budget, no budget, and there were days that I just was like, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
But when that film premiered for the first time over at what used to be Cinema Paradiso, I think it has another name now. It was purchased by someone else out in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh.
Savor.
Yeah,
Savor.
Savor
Yeah,
Cinema.
it's Savor
yeah.
Cinema now. That I was able to premiere it out there, and everyone from the show came during show season to watch it. I'm actually really glad I did that because a number of people have actually passed on since the film was shot.
Wow.
So this footage is like footage that people will have.
A legacy.
It's a legacy that they're leaving behind.
Wow.
Of their names, their music, their work. So and a lot of people have reached out to me thanking me for that and asking, when it's going to be on Amazon Prime, which drove me to hurry up and get it out.
Yeah. But before that, you had done a bunch of short films, right?
Yes.
So going from regular short film format to documentary, that had to be crazy.
I think the big thing there is that I was doing narrative short films too, so it wasn't just a length change, it was a complete change from the narrative format that I'm used to.
Yeah.
And filming documentaries is so difficult, and I understand why the people that do it for a living, you have to be passionate about that content.
Yeah.
Because we filmed for, I think, less than 6 months it took us to film all our content, because we filmed the show from beginning to end, right? And then we had to edit all of that content, and part of the editing process is going through what's good, what's not. And that took us the rest of the year. The film, we weren't able to actually get that out until a year later because of how long it took us to just go through that footage. And that was only half a year. Some people will spend a couple years somewhere filming documentary footage and then put a film together from that. So it's a very intense process.
It is. And people don't realize what's involved in making a film, in any kind of film.
It's true.
It's insane. You got for a lot of films, you get 6 weeks of shooting.
Yes.
But you've got all this pre-production time, and then you got all the post-production time, and that takes a year or more.
And that's where a lot of the magic happens.
And the writing style is completely different from a narrative film to a documentary.
Exactly, especially because we had to do separate separate voiceover work. We had an actress that came in and we had to record her voicing over the narrative parts, because we very much did a little National Geographic style where there were narrative bits that were informational, documented the points in the process, and sort of brought everything to a really nice conclusion. you know, and that's without factoring in budget, to give people an idea of like what a film budget looks like. I was putting together a speculative trailer, and for those that don't know, a speculative trailer is literally just something that you put together to show to the people that have money, like producers and networks and things of that nature, as a proof of concept, to show this is a really good idea, you should give me money so I can make this idea into a reality. Other people will put, for TV, you have something called sizzle reels that you can put together, which is just like great scenes from your show. But for this one, it was for a contest. We were entering a contest, and we had put together a cute little like film about two supervillains raising a kid in suburbia. And we documented, I think it was 1 minute worth, 1 minute. You had 1 minute to show them as strong a speculative trailer as you could. And that was part of your 3-minute presentation. So for 1 minute of a speculative trailer, that cost me and my business partner at the time, between the two of us, it was $1,500. And that was operating at like calling in favors, having people work at reduced rates, shooting a shorter film day. So just, that's how much it costs for 1 minute. Wow. Imagine how much it costs for like 80, 90, 120 minutes, you know?
Yeah, well, that's when you get into the multi-million-dollar budgets.
Oh yeah, it really put the cost of filming into perspective, and I can only imagine it's more now because inflation and all of that. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, just to get an attorney and a line producer to put a budget together and everything, it would run you about $50,000.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, one attorney's like, it's $350 to have me just, you know, on call. I forgot there's another term for it, but yeah. So
yeah, retainer.
Yeah, retainer. Yeah. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
Because you want somebody to do all the contracts, and it's got to be done right, and it's got to be an entertainment attorney,
yes,
not just any
specific.
attorney. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So when you talk about the process, it is very long and in depth, but I think it's worth it. As an artist and a creator, when you see that final product, make it to the big screen or to Amazon Prime, and you can tell people, I did that. Yeah. Because one of the things I didn't get to mention is before it was on Amazon Prime, I actually had physical DVDs of this. Like I went to a supplier and said, hey, I would like to make X amount of DVDs, and I spent it came out of pocket. I think it was like $500 to make a limited number of DVDs. I designed the cover myself. I still have a copy of the original.
DVDs, I've heard of those.
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
Now, have you submitted into festivals and things of that
yes,
sort?
Yes, it was a selection at FLIF.
FLIF.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
At FLIF, at the Fort Lauderdale International Film Festival, right after it came out.
She should submit it to Flow, where it's women, you know, it's for
yes.
women.
Absolutely. Well, you can always do it for next year.
Yes, well, I can also submit something new for next year too, because I have a lot of new content and new works in progress that I have.
Well, that's what I want to know. What are you working on now?
Well,
because we've got like 2 minutes, I think.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm working on Bridgerton-esque style short. Mostly, it's an expansion of an actual play that we're working on called Good Society. The game is basically based on a Jane Austen novel, but with the Bridgerton hype. We're sort of transforming it into a pseudo short film of that nature that falls into that vein. It does not take from the story of Bridgerton. It does not. But it's very much set in the Regency era and plays upon the themes of romance and falling in love and all of that.
Yeah.
Do you write a lot of this?
This one is collaborative. So because it's a collaborative storytelling, I'm telling it with a group of individuals, so I don't do the writing for that. The other story is an ongoing story that I feel like it's kind of cursed to sit in limbo forever, but it's an ongoing story. It's a little horror story of a vampire horror story that basically it's two kids find out they have supernatural powers and have to they have to save the world, but also, you know, face the horrors of their past in the process. So
those are interesting to write. I'm working on a horror script myself. I'm like 2/3 the way done.
Yeah.
So, but oh my gosh, we
well, that went away like in like 20 and back.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like, wait, didn't we just start like 5 minutes ago?
Right? What happened?
But yeah, so now, but we have to wrap this up. But we definitely need to get you back on the show.
Oh, sure. I'd love to come back.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
In costume.
In costume.
Yes.
Half of my costumes are in Los Angeles, but I do have a Regency costume I can show up in.
There you go.
So,
Vivian, thanks so much for being on the show. And it was
Thank you.
great to see you again and catch up with you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. We'll have to stay in touch.
Yes, thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me. I love being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Let me tell you, we've known Vivian for a while, and oh gosh, we
It's
could
like
go
a
on
reunion
and-
right now.
Yeah, it is like a high
Right?
school reunion.
God bless Rose Warner. you know?
Let me tell you so much. All this is happening because of her. It's incredible.
Yeah, did you see the legacy that we leave behind?
Yeah,
We've got a screenplay going, and it was because of her.
yeah, on human trafficking. So, Stuck in Traffic. If you want, if you think that you can help us with that, you a producer out there? Are you an investor?
Contact us on our website, floridaartsnetwork.org.
Yeah, let us know. I'll send you a copy of the pitch deck.
Jump on the train, guys. Get in traffic. I mean, not that kind of traffic.
No. All right. So, FloridaArtsNetwork.org. Check us out, and if you can help in any way, we would really appreciate it. And remember, we are a 501c3, and any gifts are tax deductible. And I guess we'll see you. Well, you'll see her.
You'll see it.
Next
week.
show.
You'll
Frank
see
and I.
me next week. Yeah, you'll be here in spirit.
Yes,
Yeah.
we will be here in spirit.
Where are you going, by the way?
I'm working a concert that day. that
touche, darling.
I can't. Yeah, I couldn't get out of it.
He's going to be in a concert. He's going to be in France or
Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Yeah, out in the Mediterranean somewhere.
Celebrating our 50th.
Wow! Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's a big deal.
50 years. Oh my gosh, Chris, I don't know how you do it. All right, guys, we will see you all next time.
Toodaloo.
Thank you for watching The Artist Loft. Make sure to tune in next time for another great show. A show that was produced by Ant Media Productions and hosted by the Florida Arts Network with your hosts Richard Sosa and Frank A. Ruffolo.